Hello, everybody. Welcome to another daily dose of gaming news and all that good stuff. And as always, I also publish on Rumble, Patreon, and anything else I usually about on Twitter X. Later on, I will be able to publish a Death Stranding episode. I'm running a little bit late for today, but I got a busy early day there for me, so I just managed to do the video today. Today at this moment. And again, just a reminder, I already have some completed gameplay series also, if you want to catch up in any of those. Let's go to the news. Interesting enough, Samsung is expected to supply the HBM memory, so bandwidth memory, if not mistaken, that's how it's called, version 4, the fourth generation, to be sampled to AMD and NVIDIA and again, other customers this month, which is good news because it's coming head to head in terms of SQ Hynix, sorry, and the other one that I completely forgot, the other manufacturer, I think is also South Korean. But yeah, this is good news given that in the previous generations with HBM3, they didn't have good yields, and in terms of manufacturing quality, I think it was not the best. So basically, NVIDIA at the time, specifically for the AI accelerators, they skipped Samsung, and they just kept with, if not mistaken, with SQ Hynix and the other company that I completely forgot the name of, which I think is also again South Korean, if not mistaken. But yeah, it seems that this time they are be able to at least go ahead and trying to be competitive with the other manufacturers of the memory stuff there. Again, I'm not sure how well this is going to kind of trickle down with other stuff like RAM and even with the GDDR stuff there in terms of the technology itself. I'm not sure how it can be trickled down, but at least in terms of pricing, it seems that we might see some good prices given that we have now at least free manufacturing trying to compete against each other to get access, specifically more with NVIDIA AMD, which are the more bigger customers that they have for this kind of memories. And hopefully this will trickle down to other stuff, specifically in terms of memory manufacturing. Again, I assume GPUs and even, I don't know, given that they are memory stuff with the DRAM, DDR RAM and other forms of memory chips. But yeah, Micron, there it is. I'm not sure if Micron is. I'm not sure if it is Japanese or South Korean. Also, again, sorry about that. But it's good that they are fighting between each other to get the clients there because again, they will again try to offer the best product for the smallest or for the cheapest price possible, and that hopefully will also trickle down kind of the trickle down economics theory there. Hopefully, it will trickle down on the final product. Even though if it is like main companies and such, I'm not sure how that will reflect that on companies. But hopefully, eventually, it might trickle down on GPUs DIY market from GPUs and even like memory stuff there for laptops and even for the DDR memories there. Hopefully, this will can trickle down on that. But yeah, good thing to see that at least Samsung, again, they improved a little bit more their, I don't know, their product for this generation to be competitive with the other guys there. But yeah, good thing to see here. Then we've been gaining a lot of RDNA 5 and Zen 6 stuff there with DNA, basically overall speculation. I'm assuming Zen 6 and even RDNA 5, given that they are going to, according to Jack Yu, last year they gave an interview of the UDNA architecture or strategy in terms of unifying both RDNA and Zen architectures, just a single framework on how they are going to, I don't know, interpose between, at least on the DR market and also on the APU side of things, because I think there's still some incompatibilities there. I don't think they are be able to extract everything that they can there. And the fact that they are going to unify everything around, especially on the hardware side of things, I think it will probably improve the overall competitiveness against NVIDIA, especially on the laptop stuff there, on the APU side of things, even consoles, and hopefully on the DR market being on Zen 6, upcoming Zen 6, and again, RDNA 5, again, we don't have official names for those, or if it is a UDNA 1. But got Kepler, which is guy that usually goes around and has some insider information per se, and there is on speculation we might be seeing on the next RDNA lineup, again, provisionary naming scheme here, that we might get the same kind of a launch as we did with RDNA free, so kind of three big variants in terms of the chips themselves. Specifically on the compute units, 96 on the higher end, 64 on the mid range, and 32 on the lower end, which is very similar given that RDNA free, so the 7900 XTX got 96 compute units. And again, in terms of memory bus, with kind of the same thing there. Again, from what I understand, memory bus is more in line to get better, or in terms of memory acceptance, I think it's compatible. In terms of speeds with GDDR7, we are not sure. We'll have to assume if they're going for the top stuff there, that probably they will introduce on this new generation GDDR7, hopefully. So it's you can use bigger modules instead of the 2 gigabytes. You can use now 3 gigabyte modules, which increases the VRAM capacity at the same kind of memory bit bus. I think it's no problem there. Again, 96 compute units, the same thing as the high end on the RDNA free, so the 7900 XTX. But again, it's newer versions or new generations of this improved compute units. Again, supposedly they're going to have an uplift in terms of performance per compute unit on rasterized and also on ray tracing, and again, some AI capabilities also, which I think this 96 compute units is mainly for rasterized performance, if not mistaken, in terms of measuring things as they are. And then we have, I don't know, AI flop, teraflop stuff there. So again, given that supposedly this UDNA is going to be kind of a chiplet kind of a thing there, I think they are going to be able to interpose some AI engines stuff there on the hardware side of things, and again, some more stuff on the ray tracing there. But it seems to be a little bit in line. And probably there is a probability of having a little bit extra VRAM, given that even with the 9070 XT, it kind of can get almost to the same kind of, in terms of performance, almost reaching the 5080. I think it's between, goes toe to toe with the 5070 Ti, basically, at least on rasterized. On ray tracing, not so much, but it still does a good job there, specifically after the RDNA free. But yeah, hopefully they at least can offer on the high end something with value, I don't know, at least close to the Hello product. I don't know, the 6090 kind of performing between the 6080 to 6090 kind of a thing there, and at least have a good price in terms of being competitive specifically with the 5080. We'll have to wait and see, but again, this is still a lot of rumor and speculation side of things, but at least it's something. If this goes in line with the disinformation that they are throwing around, I think we might have a good uplift in performance from generation to generation, hopefully. On the gaming side of things, we still have the Chinese room acquired its independence back from Sumo Digital. They were acquired from Sumo Digital 2018. These guys are more well known at this moment of being working on Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. They have other games also, which again at the moment I cannot remember from the top of my head. I think they have the Amnesia game. I think they made it, and Dear Esther or something like that. Even though this game, the Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2, is I lost a lot of hope here. Because of the troubled production cycle, they managed to inherit this from another studio midway through. They are redoing a lot of stuff from my understanding. But I'm still curious about this game. But yeah, they managed to buy themselves off of being below the umbrella of Sumo Digital. The team will be headed by the current studio director, head Daly, which I think is one of the co-founders of the studio, if not mistaken, who received funding help from the venture capital firm Shiro Capital. Again, we'll see how this goes, how dependent they are in terms of this capital firm or venture capital firm, but at least they manage to get around and be removed from Sumo Digital umbrella, given that they switched basically to a development for hire model for other studios. Again, assuming that they have some IPs, and if they want to do a project, they will, I don't know, pitch the project to somebody that wants to develop, and then who gives the better offer, they will be doing the game itself. It seems that way. And then now Chinese Room is not, again, given that they already have some layoffs here and there throughout the last year, but at least they gained some independence. Let's see how this will work, specifically for Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 and upcoming projects that they have there. There is also a rumor from FromSoftware. Supposedly they are not only working on the support of Night Rain, and also working or finishing up working on the Dusk Bloods for Nintendo Switch 2. Supposedly they already quite advanced on a third project, which supposedly at this time is got the MFC code name. Again, there are a lot of speculations the way they codename their own projects. Probably this is something, usually this kind of terminology seems to indicate that might be something between a Dark Souls or Armored Core, or even, I don't know, a follow-up on Elden Ring. I don't know. Again, a lot of speculation around this one, but it seems that they are, again, we already know that they now going to venture themselves doing several projects at the same time, again, at several points of production line there. But yeah, hopefully, again, we will have some news maybe by the end of this year. I'm not sure how focused they are on bringing about more marketing for the Dusk Bloods. Oh my God, I always forget the name of this. Yeah, Dusk Bloods. Because it's a Switch 2 exclusive, at least for the moment being, it seems. But yeah, maybe for at the end of the year with the Game Awards, we might have some tease or something like that. We might have something regarding also Armored Core. But again, personally, I don't think so. I think we're going to get something in between before we get another Armored Core game. Again, it did well for their own expectations, but again, I think it's something kind of very niche, being a mecha game. Not everybody plays mecha games. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see something. Or some people speculate as early as Tokyo Game Show, we might have some tease or something like that. But given the fact that they launch this year, at the beginning of this year, Night Rain, and they are doing follow-up support on this one, the fact that they are supposedly working very heavily also on Dusk Bloods, I don't know, maybe by the end of the year, assuming after the end of the summer, maybe Tokyo Game Show will be more focused on, I don't know, if they're going to bring another huge content for Night Rain or not. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see what they are cooking. Probably, again, if we got something, I assume it's by the end of the year. That's my assumption there. On other news, we also got MachineGames. They, again, given that they are a European company, at least registered European company, they usually have to reveal financials. It's part of the law, it seems. And again, they had around about 6% profit margin, which is always good to see. Again, we cannot take all these numbers at face value, in the sense that these are the final numbers, because again, MachineGames is a subsidiary of ZeniMax, which is part of the same of Bethesda and all that jazz. So they are at this moment in time under the umbrella of Microsoft Games or Xbox. Again, the figures are not straightforward because of business hierarchies to which they belong. So we don't know if they can, I don't know, manage the books themselves to make it present. Again, they are profitable, but again, I don't know how they cook the books. I'm not accusing the company, but how they manage the books themselves there in terms of the profits, or at least the net sales, operating expenses. Again, it all depends on how they manage that, because I'm assuming probably, I'm not sure if the machine heads is completely in Europe. If they are, supposedly the operating expenses should be taken at face value, if not mistaken. But again, net sales, again, it's global sales for sure. But yeah, they are profitable supposedly, which is good to see. And again, this I don't know how shareholders will take this, but again, I think with a positive note. Machine Games, I did enjoy the reboot that they did with Wolfenstein. It seems that this Indiana Jones games, the Great Circle, seems to be pretty good. Very trying to be very faithful to a certain extent with the original trilogy in terms of how it feels and all that jazz. Again, the reviews that I've been seeing, they seem pretty positive, which is always good to see. But yeah, I think this can kind of fight the argument of infinite growth on every game that you do, it needs to be bigger than the last one that you did. Again, I think it's a lot of pressure. But again, I think as long as you maintain yourself in terms of expenses, in terms of how you operate the studio, if you make it kind of lean and more agile in terms of doing projects and working on projects and launching games, you don't have the need to have huge amounts of sales. Again, supposedly the net sales was only around about $45 million in terms of net sales. And again, if you maintain the expenses around about that value, which supposedly is around $41 million or so, again, it can be doable and maintain some marginal profit, so you don't always be on the desperation of having to bring a super sale in the next game that you have to come out with. Again, as long as all this can be maintained to a certain degree, sustainable, I think we can see that it can maintain a studio in profit area there. On the other side, we got Ubisoft. Again, we've been seeing a lot of rumblings around regarding stop killing games. Got a lot of drama on the side with, I think, Pirate Software. Again, I don't follow the guy. I heard recently about this guy, but again, I don't follow the kind of the drama there. But he was against this thing, trying to misconstrue what Stop Killing Games is. And given that they reached after this, specifically from Pirate Software, he reignited the discussion here, and thankfully people they got their eyes on this issue, and they hopefully all of them are mainly European signatures. Because this is part of a petition to bring to the European Council, not Council, but to the European legislative body, to start making some laws to take in effect of not for the publishers not be able to just completely shut down a game, specifically after what happened with the Crew, which they basically shut down the game and removed, and people that paid the game, like myself, I remember I played this game. I bought even one of the DLCs, Hot Pursuit or something like that it was. I think I bought the full package at the time. And basically I was basically robbed out of this. But yeah, the fact that this happened basically from Ubisoft as a publisher, again, the person here, again, I'm sorry, I don't remember the name of the guy. I think he deserves a shout out there, but again, I didn't see anything regarding this, because this is basically the response from Yves Guillemot regarding this petition. But again, it is almost in 1.5 million signatures, even though it's only needed 1 million. But then again, all these signatures will need to be checked and corroborated as having these signatures being from European countries that belong in the legislative body of Europe. But yeah, and even got some support from some parliamentarians on the European Commission, if not mistaken. And this comes after, again, earnings calls that they had. I'm not sure if it is annual earnings call or something like that, but at least an anonymous, investor made a pretty good question, like a common sense question. Again, you can see that this person is not very well in depth on the gaming community and kind of the specifics of the situation that is happening around here. But at least people are hearing about it and making questions to this guy, Yves Guillemot, which basically the question is, what about the accusation that video games are being killed? There's this petition with thousands of signatories. How do you make sure that games remain playable and accessible even after support is discontinued? This petition was initiated in 2024 when Ubisoft announced the end of the service support for the crew, and now the servers are shut down and the game can't be played anymore. Do you support that petition? At the end of the day, when players buy a Ubisoft game, do they own it, or is there a chance they will not be able to keep playing the games years later? Again, it's a common sense question. I think. Again, in the market, when you buy a product, usually when you pay for something, you own it. It's usually the common sense practice and usually common law stuff there. Um, at the end of the day, basically, given that we have a huge amount of digital sales specifically for games, basically you are only buying a license for to access the game itself, that service per se, because they are considering games at this moment in time as a service, not as something that you can own. To a certain degree, in terms of theoreticals, there can be some ownership, digital management ownership kind of a thing. There's which I think we need to have this thing updated as because it's very antiquated the way it when it was introduced many years ago. I think there should be some kind of update on that on the law itself as general digital owner rights there. But the answer, again, it's very telling. I think to a certain degree they are entering in a panic mode because this is calling a lot of eyeballs, and especially when it comes to legislator making laws to make sure that the consumers have more protection. Usually it's kind of a alarming sign for these companies. But yeah, you start by answering regarding the petition. We operate in a market, and whenever we release a game, we provide a lot of support for that game. So it's a non-answer. It's not regarding a petition. It's not addressing the question on the petition itself. And then he continues, we also provide a lot of service to make sure the game is accessible and remains playable 24/7. We provide information regarding the game and how long the game can be played. Again, this is another non-answer. They're trying to use technical um, mumble jumble to try to get away, to sleaze them the way out of something. Again, there is nothing that can be said regarding how long the game can be played. Again, I think it's like double speak, trying to speak from the both sides of your mouth. Again, this the question pertains about the longevity of the game and not about if you can play it 24 hours after 24 hours. Again, that's not the question itself, and he knows, and it's basically trying to scapegoat himself into other kind of technicalities there. And he continues saying players and buyers are forewarned that eventually the game may be discontinued. Again, it's a warning that maybe, again, it leaves to the choice of the publisher. So it's on the hands of the publisher to decide when and whenever they want to discontinue the game. Again, if you're paying a full price for a game, you're at the mercy of the, I don't know, if somebody wakes up in a bad mood, they can discontinue the game. Basically, that's what he's trying to say here. He is trying to weasel himself out of here. And then regarding the crew, the game there, there was a €1 fee proposed to all buyers of the game. Just for €1, they could buy the next version of the crew. So the crew 2, €1 is not a whole lot of money to be able to continue playing a game. And we also announced that crew 2 will be made available offline in the future so that players could continue to play it. Again, it comes the question, if you have a way of the sequel of the first game to be made available offline, so in the future players can continue to play it after you bought it, why didn't you do that for the crew 1? That's the big question here. Again, if it is feasible, And it is always feasible, even though it's not replying exactly to the question itself regarding the petition of stop killing games, because the stop killing games is not demanding or asking that past games that already been launched or games that recently been launched to be mandatory to have retrofitted some kind of solution to be made available offline. It's trying to make a case when the supposed legislation is put in place, then all games that are launched after that date, then they have to be kind of supposedly mandatory framework inside of the code of the game or something like that, or any kind of solution to be able to be supported to play it offline. That's the intention of the language of the stop killing games regarding that sense in terms of time frames there. But yeah, the fact that you have €1 fee to make it available another game, you're not answering the question, because you're giving €1, and even if you give it for free, the sequel, you're just killing the first game, and all the time that people spend playing the first game. And if they like to play the first game, you remove the possibility of continuing to do for players to do that, given that you had the option and supposedly you got the framework to do something for the Crew 2, but you didn't want to pursue that solution for the first game. Again, it's one of those things. And then you continue. This is an issue that we've been dealing with. I don't know how, but poorly at least. But this kind of issue is not specific to Ubisoft. Again, trying to make an excuse, oh, it's not us. Specifically, it's something that everybody has to contend with, which kind of true, but it's not. It's trying to deflect to a certain point here. All video game publishers are faced with that issue. If you provide the service, but nothing is written in stone, at some point the service may be discontinued. Again, that's because it's not written in stone or there is no legislation. That's why it's one of the main reasons that this petition exists, is because you can sleaze your way out with legalese and whatever you want to call it. You can get out and discontinue a game because you think it's not worth to continue to support there, or arrange an alternative way that the people that bought the game can continue to support this game even if it is offline. And then it comes the platitudes. Nothing is eternal. We are doing our best to make sure things go well for all players and buyers. Again, if you don't own the game, you're not buying anything. You're renting. So there is this kind of legally speaking that I don't really enjoy from these guys. And then he continues, obviously, support for all games cannot last forever. But that's an issue that we're working on. It's something that the industry at large is working on to minimize impact on players. Again, they are not, but it's the platitudes that they usually like to speak. So again, to try to appease the investor. But clearly, there's something that needs to be factored in the lifespan of a piece of software. Yes. Whenever there's a service component, eventually service may be discontinued because the software may become obsolete over time. Yes, it can become. And again, the excuse they use for this is a lot of tools become obsolete 10 or 15 years down the line. They are no longer available, and that is why we released the Crew 2. It's not a justification, because you got games from 30 years ago that can still be played. Again, there are ways to going about it. For example, we got on DOGE a lot of older games. They do the work of keeping the game alive, and there are ways to going about it. Even if the software itself was made with the purpose of being played in a Windows version with some DirectX version, again, there are always ways of, if not completely emulating the game itself, there are always ways to go about and arrange a way of people can play a game that they bought even if it was 30 years ago. But yeah, this is a poor response to a certain degree. There, given that there is some deflection, some double speak, some legalese, they are trying to weasel themselves out from both sides of their mouth. There, they are basically trying to not enter in panic, but they are seeing that this is gaining a lot of traction. We already saw some lobbying groups for these companies, these publishing gaming companies, that are already saying that, oh, this is going to be very difficult to adopt, and it's going to take a lot of resources and all that jazz, which to a certain extent is some bullshit thing that they're trying to go about here. because again, if you can manage to do a game like, for example, the Crew 2, they already took that in account when they made the game to be made playable offline. So I don't see where the problem is. For a game that is supposedly always online, there is a way for them to do a game, at least when the Crew 2 launched, at least a few years ago. If they can, if Ubisoft can manage, any company can manage to do something like this. And again, it's not an excuse for them to try. Again, it's a little bit of trying to weasel themselves on, because again, from a business perspective, you will make money on a sequel more than if you continue to sell an older game. That's basically the reason that they usually discontinue this kind of, especially on offline games. We saw basically the same thing with Overwatch and Overwatch 2. Basically, they shut down Overwatch and they migrated everybody to Overwatch 2 because now we have a new progression that you need to make. You need to buy all the skins again. You need to buy all the whatever that you can buy on Overwatch 2. It's kind of the same mentality there. And again, it's just money. They really, again, any company doesn't care about the consumer. If again, if it was up to them, they will offer you a wallpaper and charge you for a full game price there. If the things were as they wanted to be, it was something that for sure we had on the market, which selling wallpapers for the full price of a game. And then continue with Ubisoft. I think this is from the same call with a different question here. Yeah, annual financial report. Again, I assume this is internal reporting for the investors, something like that. Again, it's kind of an insight of the mentality of the company when implementing monetization strategy. Again, which is a shit show on any kind of Ubisoft game. I don't. Again, I think the last game that I played from Ubisoft was Assassin's Creed Black Flag. I tried the beta of the Division. I'm not sure. I think it was after Black Flag, but again, it was the last thing from Ubisoft that I remember playing was Assassin's Creed Black Flag. I'm not sure how Far Cry 3 was. I think it was before Assassin's Creed Black Flag, if not mistaken. But yeah, it's been a long time. No other Ubisoft game caught my attention since since that game. But yeah, the report states that Ubisoft has a golden rule, or so they say, when developing premium games, and that is to enable players to enjoy the game in full without having to spend more money on it. Not really, but again, it's a rule. It's not something set in stone, as Yves Guillemot said on the previous article. But yeah, Ubisoft says our monetization offered with premium games makes the player experience more fun by allowing them to personalize their avatar or progress more quickly. Again, it's so funny how they like to express themselves. Adding, however, this all is always optional. The second to last point is certainly the most contentious, which is progress more quickly, which is XP boost and the such. This will be a pay-to-win mechanic, which is typically built in all Ubisoft premium games, even on single-player titles. You got the latest example with Assassin's Creed Shadows. We got here the microtransactions or whatever they are calling there that will make players happier. Which is the XP boost, extra money, extra consumables, and all that shit. But yeah, again, it doesn't recognize that to the players who aren't ever going to spend more than the sticker price of the game. These optional purchases are then simply ads directed at players that are interested in buying them. This means, at very least, that a player who has already purchased the game is now being shown advertisements in the single player game that they cannot remove. Again, usually, from my understanding, when you enter the game, there is always in the main menu just buy XP boost. You got a deal here, buy. It's advertisement basically for them to sell within their own ecosystem these microtransactions, which is very annoying for a single player game for sure. And again, a good question that they propose here on the article is what is the percentage of players who purchased, in this case, Assassin's Creed Shadows, and made one of these optional purchases, so the microtransactions, versus the ones who didn't. It's something to even though they don't say anything here, but given that they take metrics, for sure they know. who are the players that made, I don't know, even with the DLC, like the premium edition, how many purchase the base edition, and then probably on the side did the upgrade for the premium edition. How many people did the premium edition purchase, even with early access and all that jazz? And then after playing the game or during playing the game, how many of them did or did not, taking all accounts of these variables, did make the purchase of those same microtransactions? It's something that it would be interesting to see, but again, I think it's only internal data for them. And again, whatever the purchase of non-optional purchases players may have, again, the article writer said, I would love to know if they would agree that advertisements in their single player game made the player experience more fun or not. Again, of course it doesn't, but it's one of those rhetorical questions that everybody knows with some common sense knows that it's not more fun being bombarded with, I think even in game you can be bombarded with like something or something like that. Again, it's not good experience. And again, by the companies on the mission, Indacto believes that these microtransactions makes the games more fun. It makes more fun for their own pockets, but I think that that's the only thing that makes more fun for them, not to the players themselves. But yeah, this is what I got in terms of news. A good start of the week here. I'm going to wrap up with some gaming deals that are still available. We got Cocoon 40% off. We got the Darkest Dungeon 85% off. I think this is a good game here with the turn-based combat and some roguelike elements there. We got Journey, excellent game. I played it on console a lot of years ago and I did enjoy it, so it's a recommendation from me. We got Liza P. It's still on sale, 50% on the base game and with the DLC, so the bundle, 33% off. We got No Man's Sky, 60% off. I don't know, 20 plus content updates that they did throughout since the launch of the game. So at this moment, very positive feedback. We got Pacific Drive. It's one of those that I really want to try one of these days. 50% off on the base game. We got still Red Dead Redemption 2. It's 75% on the base game, and Ultimate Edition is 80% off. And then lastly, we got Stray, 40% off. Again, you play as a cat. There is nothing else to say here. And again, overwhelmingly positive feedback from everybody. But yeah, I'm going to wrap up here for today with a plug on my Patreon as usual for access support. The access support is more in line for me to try and get a new storage solution so I can have backups of stuff that I do for my clients, and of course some extra space for the videos that I do for the channel. And with all that said, I hope you have a wonderful day. Now I'll see you in the next one. So until then, Kunamy Master out.